Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to expose a pretty dark reality about modern life. We're pulling back the curtain on the economic machinery that surrounds us every single day to figure out why the modern middle class is working harder than ever, yet somehow owning absolutely less. You know, it's a question that probably haunts your daily commute, right? Why does doing everything by the book, like working hard, getting that degree, and snagging that promotion, feel like you're still just barely surviving? You're putting in the hours, you're doing your best, but the finish line, it just keeps moving further and further away. And it's like a tale of two entirely different worlds. Just look at this stark contrast. On one side, you have the exhausted, stressed employee. Honestly, it's emotionally draining. You're taxed to the max, totally dependent on a single corporate paycheck, and drowning in bills just to maintain this image of success. But then, on the other side, you have the wealthy asset owner. They're literally accumulating wealth while they sleep. They're compounding investments and are completely detached from that brutal time for money trap. And listen, this divergence, it's no accident. It's a systemic design. There's this brilliant quote from the book, The Millionaire Fastlane, that hits the nail on the head. The luxury lifestyle you've been sold, the one constantly shoved in our faces on social media, is actually a psychological trap. It's modern bondage. You end up trading your future freedom for just a fleeting moment of present-day status. Okay, Section 1, the illusion of wealth. Let's unpack this. So, modern consumerism has created this crazy culture of fake wealth. Instead of hitting major life milestones like achieving true financial independence, we kind of just numb our daily exhaustion with what's being called Trionomics. It's that $7 artisanal latte or that random late-night online purchase just to feel a little bit of relief. We're celebrating these tiny inch stones by taking out heavy car loans for designer illusions, which completely destroys our actual financial freedom. And welcome to the psychological warfare of the money illusion. It works like this. You celebrate a 2% raise at work, right? You feel great. You think you're moving up. But actually, scratch that, because 4% inflation is silently robbing you in the background. As long as the number on your paycheck goes up, you feel good, completely missing the fact that you're actually worse off. It keeps us trapped on a perpetual treadmill. Which brings us to Section 2, the invisible thief, also known as inflation. Get a load of this number. 29%. That is the staggering cumulative increase that headline consumer prices have seen since January 2019. It's wild. It completely devastates household purchasing power. And it's especially brutal for the middle and lower classes, because the prices of everyday, absolutely essential things like food, electricity, and keeping a roof over your head have skyrocketed even faster than that average. But wait, it actually gets worse. After you factor in taxes and that massive inflation we just talked about, lower middle-income households have literally seen their real disposable income drop by negative 0.5% over that same period. So despite working just as hard or maybe even harder, their actual ability to just survive has quite literally gone backward. And look, this isn't just a recent hiccup. This builds on a huge historical crisis. If you look closely at the decades from 1948 all the way to 2025, net worker productivity surged by an incredible 253%, but real hourly compensation, it only grew 116%. This proves your salary is structurally designed to never beat inflation. It's a massive, quiet transfer of economic gains from the labor we provide straight to the capital owned by those at the top. Moving right along to Section 3, the modern debt prison. To cope with this massive wage squeeze and relentless lifestyle inflation, the middle class has turned to a super dangerous substitute for real income. $18.8 trillion. Let that sink in. That is the horrifying total of U.S. household debt at the end of 2025. It's heavily built on credit cards and student loans just to maintain a basic standard of living in a deeply divided economy. Society and our schools constantly tell us that carrying debt is just a totally normal part of life. But honestly, this is pure corporate dependency. The financial system actively extracts your future labor through interest payments. It effectively traps families in a multi-decade prison where, at the end of the day, you're primarily just working for the bank. Next up is Section 4, homes and faux wealth. This brings us to the biggest illusion of the whole shebang, the traditional American dream of homeownership. The old path is entirely broken. A household now needs a staggering $120,000 salary just to afford a median-priced home. Because of this massive barrier, younger generations are increasingly getting locked into a permanent, highly burdened renter class, totally missing out on the equity building that previous generations just took for granted. And for those who do somehow manage to buy, the dream can turn into a nightmare real quick. Skyrocketing property taxes, which spiked 12%, and insurance premiums that have surged an absolutely wild 57% since 2019, have turned the family home into a financial prison for 20 million cost-burdened Americans. You end up working your whole life, literally, just to pay the bank and the local government. Section 5, Assets versus Liabilities. Let's talk about escaping the matrix. This is the ultimate rat race in action right here. Every single time you get a promotion or pay bump, what happens? Your taxes go up and your lifestyle expenses mysteriously rise to match your new income. You buy the bigger house or maybe lease a nicer car, meaning you're working infinitely harder. You're taking on way more stress, but your overall balance sheet, it stays totally flat. You're accumulating absolutely nothing. Finally, Section 6, Escaping the Rat Race. Let's talk about rewiring your psychology. Because there is hope. Let's shift gears and look at how you can fundamentally rewire your financial psychology to break these chains. The greatest financial secret, which is beautifully explored in Morgan Housel's work, isn't about being some math genius or picking the absolute perfect stock. It's entirely about changing your behavioral relationship with consumerism, managing your ego, and realizing that outward appearances mean practically zero to your actual net worth. So we literally have to redefine what the word rich actually means. True wealth is invisible. It's the first-class upgrade you didn't buy. It's the capital you meticulously save and invest, which eventually buys you the ultimate luxury, time and freedom. That is so much better than being physically bound to a massive luxury car payment every month. Take the incredibly inspiring story of Ronald Reed, for example. To everyone around him, he was just a humble rural janitor and gas station attendant, but he quietly acquired real assets his whole life and died with an astonishing $8 million fortune. He proved conclusively that deep financial awareness and a patient asset-building mindset will conquer the loud, super expensive illusion of luxury every single time. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I really want you to take a hard look at things. Critically question your job, your spending habits, our education system, and this modern consumer culture that constantly demands your attention and your paycheck. Look at your daily choices and ask yourself this final, vital question. Who are you really working for? Will you spend tomorrow building the bank's wealth, or are you going to start building your own? Keep learning, keep questioning, and start building your real wealth.